Greetings everyone, my name is Kevin and it's time to pick the books that I should and have to read for March. So as always, before we get into the game, I'm going to go through the books that I chose for February. Because I didn't finish all of the books for my January TBR, I had to start February with 2 punishment prompts. The first prompt that I got was to pick 2 red cards, meaning that instead of reading 1 book for punishment, I had to read 2. But the punishment prompt is take 2 books. And the red cards, the thing that is specific for red cards is the fact that I get a number. And that number, I have to either count to that number on my TBR bookcase or look at that number on Goodreads, because books on Goodreads is numbered if you're on the computer and not on your phone. They should change that so it's on the phone as well. The first number that I got was 28, and that was Here Comes the Sun. I did finish this book. I also read this for my Globetrotter Readathon or Globetrotter Reading Challenge, which is a year-long reading challenge where we read 1 part of the world each month. And for February, we visited the Caribbean. This is set in Jamaica, so I read it for that as well. And I did read this. And the second one is number 22. And I chose The Gauntlet. It was the 22nd book on my bookcase. I didn't read this. Yeah. So the thing is, the punishment prompt is read 2 books. I read 1 of them, so I will have to take a punishment prompt for the punishment prompt read 2 books because I didn't read 2 books. That is 1 punishment prompt, even though I read 1 of the 2 books. I hope that makes sense. So that is at least 1 punishment prompt so far. I don't like starting the year this way. The second prompt that I got, the second punishment prompt I got was over 800 pages. And I chose this because it's the only book that I have over 800 pages. And I didn't even open it. Yeah. I think everyone goes about these big books differently. Like, maybe I should have started the month reading this book so that it was over and done with quicker, and then I could read the shorter books. But I like to start with the shorter books because that way I will have finished more books quicker. Had I started with this, it might have taken like half the month just finishing this, and then I have half the month to finish the other 6 books that I had to read. Or 7 books even, because 2 books for 1 punishment prompt. So I didn't pick this up. I decided that when I finish every other book on this TBR, which you know what, that I didn't, I was going to read this. And that didn't happen. So that is 2 punishment prompts so far. Off to a great start. And then we move on to the actual game, YaTTBRzy, where I played to get the prompts. And the first prompt that I got was Aliens, and I chose We're Not From Here, and I read and finished this book. The second that I got was Indigenous, and I chose Beneath the Moon, and I did read and finish this book as well. It has a lot of indigenous stories as well as just fairy tales and stories from all around the world. This specifically took place in 39 countries. I visited 39 countries just by reading this book. That's pretty amazing. The next prompt that I got was 5-star prediction, and I read Perfect World Volume 4. I gave it 4 stars, so I wasn't that far off. 5-star prediction. I really love this manga series. It's about this woman who falls in love with a man that she met, I think, in high school, and that guy has since been in an accident and he is now in a wheelchair. And it's kind of their relationship and the struggles of being in a relationship where one is in a wheelchair. He has no sensation from his navel down. If I remember correctly, it's from his navel down. He has no sensation. He doesn't feel anything. Yeah, and he has a lot of like mental issues because he doesn't think he's lovable because he's in a wheelchair. I just love how this kind of portrays this kind of relationship and the struggles that they go through, not only because of him being in a wheelchair, but also society and what people around them think of the relationship because of that. I really, really enjoy it. And the next prompt that I got was the book has to start with an adjective, and I chose Perfect World Volume 5. Again, love this. I gave this 4.5 stars. Yeah, I just really love the series. And the last prompt that I got was red cards, so a title card or a numbered card, and I got 52, which was Scythe. And I read this and I loved it. I think I gave it 5 stars. That means that I have only 2 punishment prompts to take. And so the books that I didn't finish were for the punishments and not for the game, the played prompts. It's the punishment prompts that I didn't finish it. So I have to take 2 punishment prompts for not completing for the 2 punishment prompts. Yeah. Then I want to just quickly mention Globetrotter Reading Challenge. So this month for March, we're visiting North America. And because a lot of the books that I have are set in North America, or more specifically the United States, I don't have a specific book that I say, this is the book that I want to, or I'm planning to read for Globetrotter Reading Challenge, because I have a lot of books that fit that part of the world. So yeah, then we'll start with taking the first punishment prompt. The first punishment prompt is murder mystery, and the first punishment is murder mystery. The reason that it's a punishment is because I don't read a lot of murder mysteries, and a lot of punishment prompts are kind of out of my comfort zone kind of thing. But I have, since making the prompts, read a few murder mysteries. And the plan for March is to read an Agatha Christie short story, which is The Mystery of Hunter's Lodge. This is like 25 pages long. It's a short story. It's a murder mystery short story with Hercule Poirot. It's a short story. It's a murder mystery. I feel like I need my punishments to be short so that I don't have to take more punishment prompts for like moving further into the year. So that is the first book, The Mystery of Hunter's Lodge. And the second punishment prompt is over 700 pages. I really hate getting these punishments over 700 pages. Like, yeah. Just as I said, for my February TBR, I only have one book over 800 pages. I only have one book over 700 pages. And it's To Sleep in a Sea of Stars. So this is my second chance to read this. I really, really want to read this. I think this is a 5-star prediction thing for me. I think I will absolutely love this. It's just that it's so big that I feel, intimidated by it, that I feel like it's gonna take a long time. That's the thing. It's gonna take a long time to read, and that's why it's so difficult for me to start it. Also, what if it's not a 5-star when I've built that up so much in my head that it's a 5-star? But I am really excited to read it. So this is, hopefully I will read it in March. Let's just say, I hope that I will read it in March. And now we move on to actually playing YaTTBRzy. So now it's time to play. So for the first prompt, okay, 4, 5, 6. What do I need? I need 6s. I don't remember what this is called. 2 pairs. Oh my god, 2 pairs. And then I need a full house and chance. So I will keep the 6 and the 5. Ooh, 2 5s. So all I need now is a 6 and I have a full house. Yay! Okay, I have a full house, so 6. So 2 6s and 2 5s, 3 5s. So that should be 27. So, and that is not highest possible, because highest possible would be 3 6s and 2 5s. So that is a yellow card. So the first played prompt is enemies to lovers. So we got enemies to lovers, and I am not mad about this at all. I really love enemies to lovers. I know that it's kind of, that what we call enemies to lovers isn't exactly enemies to lovers, more dislike to lovers, or kind of rivals to lovers, or just really annoyance to lovers, that I don't like you, but I'm falling for you, that kind of thing, and not actually enemies trying to destroy each other and then falling in love. Enemies to lovers is a very broad spectrum of just dislike to lovers to mortal enemies trying to kill each other to lovers. But I have a lot of books that fit this prompt. But the one that I want to go with is Along for the Ride. This looks absolutely stunning. We follow a woman, her sister is moving across the United States. I'm pretty sure that it's the United States because they're called American. Usually if someone is referred to as American, they mean the US American and not Canadian American. I usually say US American just to specify that it's the US and not North America, because you know, Native Americans are native to the Americas, and not just the US. And you are American if you're Canadian as well, because you're from the Americas. But people tend to say American as a nationality connected to the US. So I say US American sometimes, specifically in school when I teach, just to differentiate, I guess. But I want to read this or I'm planning to read this for enemies to lovers. We have this woman, Jolene. Her sister is moving across the country and she has to go on a road trip to help her sister move. And the person that she has to go on a road trip with is Jason, this guy. And they don't like each other. He is the best friend to the guy that Jolene's sister is married to. So her brother-in-law, his best friend is Jason. And these two don't get along and they really don't like each other. And then they go on this road trip and, you know, kind of, what is it called? Forced proximity. I'm really intrigued and excited to read this. I think, first of all, the cover is stunning. Like, look at it. It's absolutely stunning. And yeah, I think it's gonna be great. So for the second prompt, okay, I need 2 pairs. So I'm going to keep the 5s and the 6 and hope for a 6. And I got a 6. Okay, so that is 2 pairs. So that is 22. That should be 22. And that is a red card because it's high as possible. Number 32. The next one we got is number 32. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to count on my bookshelf what number 32 is. So number 32 is this gorgeous, gorgeous book, Legendarium. It's, oh my god, the first book, this is a duology. The first book is called Wonderscape and it was one of my favorite books. I loved that book so much. It's about these 3 kids that just on their way to school, they heard a dog and they went into this abandoned building, kind of the building, and found the dog. And trying to leave that building, they end up in the future. I think the year 21, 22 something, I don't remember, but far in the future. And they end up in this kind of virtual reality game without, you know, glasses or something, that you just end up and it feels very, very real. And there are these different kinds of worlds and you have to win in that world, do the main challenge, meet the person that world is built around. So we have, for example, one character from history, one, maybe it's a real person, maybe it's a fictional famous person, and then they have this world set around that person, and then they have also a big game or competition connected to that world and this person. And it was brilliantly done in the first book, in Wonderscape. I absolutely love that book, and I am excited that we have this sequel. I am really, really happy that I get to read this. Then for the third prompt, oh my god, okay, keeping the 6s. I feel like I have a lot of luck today. So then next roll, 2 5s, and then last roll. Okay, so that is 3 6s for 6. So I have 18 going there. And that is a yellow card because it's not high as possible. And the prompt is interesting historic event. That's interesting. And the next prompt is interesting historic event. This is a prompt, I really love this prompt. It's very interesting, and I looked through my shelves trying to figure out which book do I want to read for interesting historic event. And I have a few, but I decided to go with a middle grade one because I feel like I need a middle grade. I already have Legendarium, which is a middle grade, but I want to have another middle grade. So I decided to go with Brother's Keeper. First of all, look at this cover. It's absolutely gorgeous. I feel like so far this TBR is just full of gorgeous covers. But this is connected to the war, like the Korean War, when Korea was split into North and South. So this is set in the 1940s in North Korea, and we follow this pair of siblings. So we have this young girl and she's taking care of her brother. Okay, so it's set in the 1950s and not the 1940s, as I said. So 1950s North Korea. And I'm really intrigued. So for the fourth prompt, it should be for the fourth prompt, I need chance and YaTTBRzy. So I feel like I should aim for a YaTTBRzy, and then if I don't get one, I will put it at chance. Another 4, and then last roll. Okay, so that will be my chance. That is 17 in chance, and that's a yellow card. And the prompt is roll a dice. So if I get 1, it's G, 2 H, 3 I, and then JKL. So to determine the first letter of the book is this. And the book should start with the letter L. So the next prompt that I got was roll a dice, and I ended up with a book starting with the letter L. And just as I did with Legendarium, I mean, I didn't choose Legendarium, it was the number that chose Legendarium for me. But this book is The Life Below. This is another sequel. This is the sequel to The Final Six, which I love The Final Six. It's been a while since I read The Final Six, but I love The Final Six. It's kind of a dystopian book. We have the end of the world, pretty much, and these kind of teenagers are rounded up. And it was kind of an institute or something like that in the US, where a lot of different kids, teenagers and stuff, went there and went through a lot of they were basically training to become the final 6 who were allowed to leave Earth to go on this exhibition. There's kind of like a conspiracy going on. I really loved the Final Six, and this is the sequel in this duology. So this is the second and last book in this duology, and I have been meaning to read this for a while. But this is my chance to actually read it. So just as I did with Legendarium, which is the second book in with a first book that I loved, this is another second book in a duology where I really, really love the first book. So I do hope that I will love both of them as well. Then last prompt. Okay, I got 2 threes. So for a YaTTBRzy, and then last roll. Ooh, so close. Okay, so that I'm crossing out YaTTBRzy. I have to cross out YaTTBRzy. I just realized I forgot to count this one. Okay, so I got a bonus, which means I get to take a an advantage card. Here I have my advantage cards. So I'm rolling this for the advantage card. A 4, so I got boost 2. And boost 2 means roll 2 dice to add to the points for the roll. So when I use this, if let's say I get 2 threes, I get 1 pair and it's a pair of threes, then I have 6 points. But if I want to use boost 2, then I get to roll 2 dice. And in this case, it's 5. So that would be 6 plus 5, which is 11. So I would then write 11 instead. That's what it means. So this is my boost going forward. So I can use it for April, May, and June. So now we're counting what I get in total. So that should be 276. And because I didn't manage to get a YaTTBRzy, I had to cross that out. The last prompt for March is a punishment, and it's over 600 pages. Damn it. Again, another really, really, really long book. Yeah, and as I said with To Sleep in a Sea of Stars, I don't have another book that long. I even looked at my other shelves, and the only books that I have over 600 words. I have a lot of books over 600 words. The only book that I have over 600 pages is the Illuminate series, and I don't want to reread those right now. But then I realized that I do count bind-ups as long as I read every single book in that bind-up. So I am going to read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. This is over 700 pages, and it contains 5 novels. So the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is a series in 5 parts. I have only read the first part. I have the second and the third part as part of my 30 books to read before I turn 30. And I really loved the first story. And so I am going to read the entire bind-up of all 5 books. And I have to read all 5 in order to count this as a success. But it's over 600 pages. Even though it's a bind-up, I do count it. So this is the last book going on my TBR. The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. All 5 books within that series. Yeah. Here we have the 6 books that I am reading physically. And then we also have The Mystery at Hunter's Lodge, which is the only book that I don't have physically. These are all of the books. So we have a nice mix of long and short, and also genre and the age of, what is it called? I don't remember what it's called, but we have some books meant for adults, new adults, and middle grade books. And then also a short story of 25 pages. So I have a lot of variety this month. And I hope that that is the recipe for success for March. That means that I have 2 books that I can count for Globetrotter Reading Challenge. This is set in the US, following American characters. This is also set in the US, written by an American author, and I think there's an American character. I mean, there has to be American characters in it. So I basically have 2 books set in the US. So I can do either one of these, really, as my Globetrotter Reading Challenge. I think I'm going to go with this book, Along for the Ride, for the reason that for my bingo, there's a bingo board connected to the Globetrotter Reading Challenge as well. You don't have to do that. You can choose if you want to do the bingo board or the regular with just the parts of the world. There is a prompt on the bingo board that is a book that involves traveling, and this book involves traveling. So yeah, so it fits that prompt as well. So this is the book that I'm reading for the Globetrotter Reading Challenge. So those are the 7 books that I will be reading for March. I hope it goes well. I hope that I don't have to take a single punishment prompt for April. I hope that I will have finished all of these books in March. Please wish me good luck. And also, what are your reading plans? Are you participating in the Globetrotter Reading Challenge? And if so, what books are you planning to read for North America? Are you also reading for the US, or are you reading for Mexico, or maybe Canada? Please let me know. And I will see you next time. Good reading. Bye.